After more than 100 years as a driving force in the Chequamegon Bay community and economy, Northland College closed earlier this year due to financial troubles.
But as Northern News Now Sophia Lauber reports, a group of community members hope to bring it back on a much smaller scale.
I'm here on Northland College's campus, which has been closed since last spring. But a small group of former faculty are working to ensure the spirit of the school lives on.
Northland College was such a special place and such a great community that people weren't willing to just let it go.
Former staff rallied to form the Northland Collaborative, set on preserving the school's educational mission. They're now charting a new path forward in the form of a microcollege. Board members describe it as a holistic, community-based education model where students live and learn together. While still working out details, they're considering a 2-year program with cohorts of 20-some students.
They're taking sort of traditional classes, but the classes are also discussion-based. A lot of them will be experiential or place-based, so sometimes the classroom is going to be the Chequamegon Bay area.
Kelly Westland, Deputy Administrator of Bayfield County, says the movement gives her and the entire Chequamegon community hope after the closure.
It was like a gut punch for the whole community. I mean, just devastating. And people really came together to try to figure out, what tools do we have, what connections, what resources, how can we make this work?
And with many Northland College staff choosing to stay in the area, board members say their strongest resource is their people.
Starting a new college from scratch can feel overwhelming, but when you look at all of the talent that we have in the area and the people who are offering their expertise, it feels very doable.
The collaborative doesn't have a timeline yet at this point. They hope to have a better idea after the next year of planning. In Ashland, Sophia Lauber, Northern News Now.
The collaborative is drawing inspiration from other micro-colleges like Thoreau College just south of La Crosse. Thoreau offers gap semester programs, summer courses, as well as fellowships. They're partnered with a 4-year college allowing students to earn transferable college credits.